Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most influential books, ever written. Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We're going to unpack the core ideas that have totally shifted mindsets and really transformed lives for millions, everywhere from the boardroom to your living room.
So does that sound familiar? If it does, you are definitely not alone. See, Covey argues this frustration isn't about working harder, it's about focusing on the wrong things entirely. It's that sinking feeling that you've been climbing this ladder like a maniac, super fast, only to get to the top and realize, oh no, it's been leaning against the wrong wall the entire time.
So what exactly is the right wall? For the longest time, a lot of us have been chasing what Covey calls the personality ethic. It's all about those quick fixes, right? The fancy techniques, the perfect social image. He says it's like polishing the leaves of a tree. It looks good for a minute, but real, lasting success, that comes from the character ethic. We're talking about our deep core principles. Those are the roots. That's what really matters.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about seeing differently, the perception problem. Then, doing powerfully, which is all about the private victory. After that, getting more, the public victory. We'll wrap up the theory with the inside-out revolution, and then, and you're going to want to stick around for this, we'll finish with the simple 30-day challenge you can start like today.
Okay, so the first and honestly the most critical insight in the whole book is this. To change your results, you've got to first change the lens you're looking through. It isn't about just changing what you do, not at first anyway. It's about changing your internal map of reality.
So Covey has a word for these lenses. He calls them paradigms. And you can just think of them as your personal mental maps of the world. And here's what's wild. They are so powerful that two people can stare at the exact same set of facts, the exact same situation, and see completely different things. And here's the kicker. Both of them will be absolutely convinced that they're the one being objective.
There's actually a famous experiment that shows this perfectly. So they took some students, and for just a second, showed them a picture of either a young woman or an old woman. Then they brought everyone together and showed them a single image that was a composite. It had both women in it. And you know what happened? People literally could not see what the other group saw. They were all looking at the same ink on a page, but they were living in totally different realities, all because of what they were conditioned to see first. And this all leads to this really profound conclusion, which Covey sums up in this famous quote. A lot of the time, the thing we're struggling with, that's not the actual problem. The way we are seeing the problem, that is the problem. So if you want to change the situation, you have to start by changing yourself. Okay, there's a story in the book that just makes this idea stick with you forever. So Covey's on a subway one day, and there's this man whose kids are just running wild. They're yelling, throwing stuff, bothering everyone, and the whole time their dad is just sitting there, completely passive, not doing a thing. Covey's irritation is just building and building until he finally can't take it anymore. He leans over and says something like, "Sir, your children are really disturbing a lot of people. I wonder if you couldn't control them a little more." And what the man says next, it triggers this instant world-shattering paradigm shift. He kind of looks up and says softly, "Oh, you're right. I guess I should do something about it. We just came from the hospital where their mother died about an hour ago." Wow. In a single moment, all of Covey's irritation just evaporated, gone, and in its place is this huge wave of compassion. Now think about that. The situation itself didn't change one bit. The kids were still acting out. But because he saw it differently, everything changed. So once you really get that you can choose your paradigms, that understanding becomes the key that unlocks the first big phase of growth. This is all about self-mastery. These are the first 3 habits, and Covey calls this the private victory. It's all about making that journey from being dependent on things to being truly independent. And it all kicks off with habit 1, be proactive. This whole idea is built on this incredible human freedom, a truth that Viktor Frankl discovered in the most horrific place imaginable, a concentration camp. He realized that even though his captors could control literally everything about his environment, they could not control his response. So right in that tiny space between what happens to us, that's the stimulus, and how we react, that's the response, that space holds our greatest power. It's our freedom to choose. So this is a really cool way to visualize where we put our energy. Proactive people, they put all their energy into their circle of influence. These are the things they can actually do something about. And when they do that, that circle gets bigger. But reactive people, on the other hand, they waste all their time and energy on the circle of concern. Things they have zero control over, like the news or what other people are doing. And the sad part is, when they do that, their own circle of influence actually shrinks. And this brings up such a crucial difference between management and leadership. See, management is all about efficiency. It's about climbing that ladder as fast as you possibly can. But leadership, that's the heart of habit too. And leadership is about effectiveness. It's about making sure that your ladder is leaning against the right wall to begin with. It's about stopping for a second and asking the big question, hey, are we even in the right jungle?
So, okay, how do you find your right wall? Well, that's habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. It challenges you to figure out your ultimate destination. And the most powerful way to do this is with a kind of intense thought experiment. Visualize your own funeral. I know, it's heavy, but ask yourself, what would you want your family, your friends, your coworkers to say about you, about your character, about what you contributed? Whatever the answer to that is, that, Covey says, is your truest, most authentic definition of success.
So once you've done the work and achieved that private victory, you're ready for the next level, the public victory. This is where you start getting those incredible breakthrough results with other people. It's about moving from independence to an even higher level, which he calls interdependence.
And that brings us to habit 4. Think win-win. Now, this is so important. This is a mindset, not just some negotiation tactic. It's the deep down belief that there's plenty for everybody, that my success doesn't have to come at the expense of your success. It's a whole philosophy of life where you're always looking for that mutual benefit, because honestly, in the long run, anything else just doesn't work.
But here's the thing. You can't even get to win/win unless you've mastered habit 5. And this might be the single most important principle for getting along with other human beings. It's the simple act of diagnosing before you prescribe. It means listening. I mean really listening with the true intent to understand, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
So what happens when you combine that win/win mindset with that deep empathic understanding from habit 5? Well, you unlock the magic of habit 6, synergy. This is where the magic really happens. It's where you genuinely value that people see things differently. This isn't just about compromise, where 1 + 1 equals like 1.5. No, this is about true creative cooperation. It's where 1 + 1 can equal 3 or 10 or even 100.
So, as you can see, these 6 habits all build on each other. They create this powerful upward spiral of growth. But there's one last habit, and this one is absolutely crucial. It's not just another step in the process, it's the one thing that makes all the other habits sustainable for the long haul.
And that, my friends, is habit 7, sharpen the saw. Think of it this way. It's all about preserving and enhancing your single greatest asset, which is you. This is the habit of renewal. It means taking consistent time to recharge yourself across 4 key areas: your physical health, your mental sharpness, your spiritual core, and your social and emotional well-being. At the end of the day, this is the habit that makes all the other habits even possible.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But the big question is, where do you actually start? Well, the whole journey really does begin with just one step. And to help us get started, Covey offers up this really simple but powerful challenge to start building those proactive muscles.
Okay, so here it is. For the next 30 days, just try this. First, work only inside your circle of influence. That's it. Make small commitments to yourself, and then keep them. Instead of pointing fingers and criticizing other people, just be a model of what you want to see. Don't blame, don't accuse, and this one's huge. When you mess up, and you will, just own it. Admit it, correct it, and learn from it, like right away. The goal is to be a light, not a judge.
Covey's final piece of advice was to live life in a crescendo. What he meant by that was to always believe that your most important work, your greatest contributions, are still ahead of you. And that's really the key takeaway here. Effectiveness isn't some destination you just arrive at one day. It's a direction. It's a daily choice to grow, to learn, and to contribute. So the question this whole book really leaves us with is a powerful one. What will your crescendo be?